Welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Medicine and Molecular Medicine podcast, and I do apologise for the long delays between episodes. I do endeavour to get out an episode on a monthly basis from now on in. It's been quite a long time, and that reflects the busyness of nuclear medicine and PET at the moment. Being a researcher, there's a lot happening in the world, and it'd be great to get the information out to you. So if you got any ideas for new episodes, if you're doing something interesting, then get in touch with me at newcast.com. But apart from that, let's look back at the past. 2011, a few weeks after Fukushima reactor accident, and I recorded an interview, and I believe it's the only one that's been recorded, with the doctor who was on site at the reactor. This is fresh. This was only done a few weeks after the accident, where he told us the harrowing tale of what happened to him and happened to the people of Japan. A terrible story, and I'm sure we can learn a lot from it. I'm also talking to representatives of industry in Japan and how it affected them. We're still learning the lessons and about how to communicate this effectively, and I'm sure you'll find this of interest. So let your friends know about this episode. It's unique, it's special, and it's the only time someone's actually spoken to the doctor who was there and really saw what was happening. So get in touch with me for any feedback at newcast.com. Following on from our earlier discussion at ICNC with Dr. Hiro Aito, I'm going to be speaking to Dr. Shinro Matsuo. I apologise for my poor pronunciation of the Japanese, but Dr. Matsuo was uniquely involved in the nuclear crisis in Japan. So I might just take a few minutes to talk to him, and I appreciate him giving up his very busy time to talk to us about what happened in Japan. Perhaps you can start by telling me what happened to you personally when you first found out about the earthquake.
Yeah, I was told to go to Fukushima as soon as the earthquake occurred, and Japanese government requested me to go to Fukushima. And Kanazawa University medical doctor, the chief of the hospital, sent me to there. And from Kanazawa to Fukushima, it takes 8 hours to go by there by driving by car. And I went to the head office of the Fukushima in May 16, and there are thousands of people there, and they are from escaping from their house without having anything. So they are nothing. They have nothing. They have no medicine, or they have no clothes, or they have no food. Of course, I had nowhere to sleep, but I see a lot of people, and I made I listened to their what they talked to me. What they told to me is very impressed, and I really feel very sorry for them. And I measuring their blood pressure, they had hypertension and very tachycardia, and I prescribed the medicine which I bring with me, beta blocker or calcium antagonist. Of course, before I'm seeing them, I have been checking their exposure to radiation. I have bring with me checking the radiation, and if they had a very exposure to radiation, I send them to the hospital. after controlling, they have no exposure to radiation.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did the doctor was Dr. Masuto is a nuclear medicine physician and a cardiologist, so uniquely qualified to look at the problems involved. How did you check for the radiation? Did you use a Geiger counter or a scintillation detector or?
Yeah, I am a detector. I bring with me a detector to check the decay per minute, and if the patient had 10,000 of count, I think it is positive. And of course, I'm as a cardiologist and a nuclear medicine specialist. After checking, I see a patient. There are a lot of patients. I see many thousands of patients per day, and after seeing the patient, I go to our head office of Fukushima, and as a disaster medical assistant team and as a nuclear medicine specialist, I have been seeing many patients, but I cannot afford to see every patient. Of course, the medicine is limited, so I only prescribe 3 days of medicine in that patient. And of course, I didn't have any hotel or anywhere to sleep. I sleep in the car, which I by which I go, and I use the I had been sleeping in the car, and I had been with nurses and the driver, of course, and only I'm only 2 doctors in the such a in Fukushima in that time, so I was really feel sorry for them, and I really do as much as I can do, and I had no hospital to send them to, because hospital is not working at that time. So I prescribe medicine to reduce blood pressure, to treat hypertension, but I think it's may not work in some patients, because they have very stressful, and they had no sleeping time, and they had really feeling uneasiness. Their family had died because of the tsunami, and they are escaping from the houses without any money or any anything. So, well, and one thing that I really feel sorry for them is I had no time to see every people, because time is limited, and they are waiting for my medical assistant, but I can't see the older patient there.
Right, that must have been very stressful to you, to feel that you couldn't help. I mean, you were telling me before that you were, with the hypertension and the stress and the tachycardia and so on from what happened with following the incident there, that people died in front of you. Is that right?
Yeah, some people have a very severe stage, and I and other doctor are teaming in management of such patient, and my colleague see the patient, and patient died because they cannot move to another hospital, and of course they had hypertension and tachycardia, so beta blocker may be effective, but for the patient who need medical therapy to heart failure, we can do, our ability is limited. so there is a patient who died in that area.
Right. What were the radiation problems in that area? Were the workers, were they badly affected from radiation? Did many of them receive any serious doses?
There's 1,000 people which I see. There is no people who had a very big radiation because explosion occurred on 15th March, and the people which I saw had not contaminated, and there is very few radiation exposure, and I think it's not so bad for the future health. But in the head office, I hear there is some people who are contaminated and who moved to another second stage facility to treat that patient.
I mean, I think we certainly heard, like from Chernobyl, that a lot of people died. More people died, or many people died from the stress related to the fear of radiation more than the actual radiation themselves. Is that what you found also?
Yes, not from the radiation itself, but from the cardiovascular disease which caused by the stressful lifestyle in the Fukushima, and hypertension may cause many cardiac events. So after I heard such a cardiovascular management is very really needed in such a area in Fukushima. So not a radiation, but such a cardiovascular disease is very prominent because they don't have any medicine to treat coronary artery disease or hypertension. They have to quit having medication at that time. So I think such management is really has been needed to the patient. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think that's a lesson perhaps for emergencies in the future, with serious emergencies like that we should be thinking about the cardiovascular consequences of the stress rather than the radiation. And anybody who has to task with dealing with that should be dealing with it. I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. I really hope that if my experience will work in the future, such a stage, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, and thank you for giving up the time. Much appreciated.